What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. It's another day. It's another live stream. Let's do it. Still waiting to see some folks jump in here. Hope everyone's doing great on this Monday. Hope all you dads out there had a fantastic Father's Day weekend. I'm going to refresh this to see how many people are in right now. 6. Still 6 more. Bindles, what's going on? How you doing, brother? We got Redacted in here. Hey, JJ, can you briefly explain, by the way, I look over here because this is where my other monitor is. Can you briefly explain why we want to try and get players playing each other in weeks 15 to 17? Stacking makes sense, but a little lost on including opponents as well. We'll get to that in just a second. I want to say hi to everybody. Nate, what's up? Jaquan, good to see you. Deeb, or Deeb, as some people will call him. Dynasty Dave, what's going on, guys? Good to see you. Going back to this question, why are we stacking games in these environments? So it's a tournament environment, right? Think about DFS. Think about how we're constructing lineups in a daily fantasy lineup. We are often stacking games. Why? Because we want the upside of those game stacks. Because if the game goes off, everyone that we have will hypothetically go off or have a higher probability of going off. So if you have the Bengals Cardinals and you have Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, then if they have a good game, that means the Cardinals are going to also be trying to keep pace and throwing the ball a lot. Let's bring it back with Trey McBride. Let's bring it back with James Conner even, because there's the potential for touchdowns that way. So you're stacking games because you want those games to go off at the end of the day. Let's see what spot I'm in. Ooh, we got the turn today. We got the turn. Justin, what's going on? Martin, good to see you. Dynasty Dave, draft stacks make stacks. That's right. Got the 103 in a slow, had Lamb and Pickens stack, and someone took naked Dak. Yeah, that'll happen. What's up, Jake? How do I not tilt over this? I think the episode I did with Pat Kerrane to start the Becoming a Best Ball Bro series this year, talked about it a little bit last year too, is really helpful with that. Like, yes, you missed out on that stack, but it is still, another team that you have stacked. And so if Dallas goes off, hypothetically, there could be a game where Lamb and Pickens have a really great outing and Dak still doesn't go off. Like, what if they both have 1 touchdown games and Dak has a 2 touchdown game? Then all of a sudden Dak isn't part of your lineup, or he doesn't have that high of a score. So there's, of course you'd rather have Dak, but there's at least outs, where it's not guaranteed that he would have a monster game too. We have David Kitchen here saying, where's the handsome one? You're on thin ice, buddy. Shane, how would you rank the rookie running backs as far as impact this year? Ashton Genty's the RB1. I haven't been drafting as much Amarian Hampton as others have. I don't mind him, of course. Oh, look, Soccer Dave is in here. We have Soccer Dave in the 5 spot. Thank God he's not drafting next to me. That'd be tilting beyond belief. Here he goes. We'll see what you do, Soccer Dave. Here comes the Bijan Robinson pick. The chalky pick. There it is. I'm gonna review David Kitchen's team at the end of this too. It looks like he jumped in that 5 spot. Don't love being at the turn that much. We had an 11 spot team the last live stream, and it ended up okay. I just don't want Josh Allen to be staring at me again, as has been the case, or as was the case last time. He's been slipping a little bit. I just don't really want to go early quarterback again. Kitchen says 1 spot plus EV Don't worry, JJ. Second place can also advance into the next round in this. Yes, it's true. It's very true. There goes Neighbors. I mean, usually from the spot, I'm looking at maybe Bowers or just going with 2 wide receivers. We'll see what's there. Genty's a little bit attractive to pair with like a Bowers and just go really weird with it. But I haven't. I mean, if Amon-Ra's there and like I love Nico this year. Yeah, so he gets Genty. I'm going to go Amon-Ra and Nico at the turn. It's one of the best first rounds that I can remember in fantasy football. So the back end isn't as bad. How would you rank? Okay, yeah, we'll go back to this. How would you rank Judkins, Henderson, Caleb, and Harvey for Dynasty? I have Caleb and Harvey in a tier below the other two, but I think Henderson's above Judkins. Any guess on becoming a best ball bro you'd like to have on, but logistically, etc., haven't been able to yet? Yeah, you'll see. I mean, there's a lot of great folks that are doing best ball content in the space that I would love to have on. So if any of you guys have recommendations, hit me up. Always looking for good guests. I got my giant jug, my gallon jug with me, as usual. Just came back. I didn't want to like do intense cardio today, so I went on a long walk today. I just did like a little over 5 miles. I've obviously never done the math myself, but isn't stacking the opponent also assuming that the opponent will be competitive in the shootout? I mean, if it's not a shootout, then is that more likely than choosing a breakout player that week? Yeah, look, you're correlating. If a shootout means that both teams are going back and forth, right? Otherwise, you're just saying that team is just going to blow up. But if that team blows up, there's less likelihood of that passing attack in particular going absolutely ballistic. Yeah, I love Sean Siegel. Siegel's a good friend of mine. I've known Siegel for a long time now. I might hit him up. Neighbors, Bowers pair play each other week 17. Gotten that one at the turn a few times so far. Yep, that's a good turn there. So we got Amon-Ra. So you can get Minnesota players for week 17. You got Nico. Houston gets LA, the Chargers. I really like Nico. I have in my draft guide. I've been doing some of the player write-ups, and spoiler alert, Nico is a player to target, but there's some really good trends based on his peripherals last year. I mean, it's wild how good his numbers were last year and just how good he could, his ceiling is. Here, we'll look over here real quick. So the Chase team did not get Higgins. Soccer David Kitchen with the RB start, like it's 2011. There goes Josh Allen, which makes me feel good because that means I don't have to do it. Kitchen gets Trey McBride. No wide receivers through 3. Bold. Wide receivers in PPR format are overrated, says Kitchen. Brock Bowers behind. I mean, he doesn't always go this late. So this is an interesting start. I always get the week 17 games from last year mixed up with this year. So I was thinking, oh yeah, that's great. But then the Cardinals get the Bengals. All right, we are close. I love Devon. I'm not getting enough Devontae Adams just because of where I've been slotted, but I really do like Adams this year. We're getting close. We'll look at ADP here. Could just go 0 RB, given we could go McLaurin Daniels because I'm not like in love with what's going on here. So I think we're going to do that. I don't have a ton of Terry, but we're getting them past ADP. And then I'll swing it around with Jaden Daniels just to pair it up. So now we're looking at Dallas in week 17. And then we could just get one more quarterback. I really don't want to get Goff, even though I have Amon-Ra. So Stroud is definitely on the table here. Look at that naked Joe Burrow. You see that very frequently these days. It makes me feel good, though, getting Jaden Daniels 4 picks before Joe Burrow. I can't quite understand why Joe Burrow has the ADP that he has. I don't really get it. Jalen Hurts should be ranked ahead of Joe Burrow. Like the Bengals are very unlikely to throw the ball as much as they did last year. He's my QB5, don't get me wrong. But the Bengals are highly unlikely to throw the ball as much as they did last year. And Burrow had the highest touchdown rate of his career. Like, I can understand the Burrow picks when you have Jamar Chase. Yeah, tough to get Dallas bring back. No, I totally get it. I mean, Pickens is likely going to be gone. And obviously CeeDee Lamb is gone. I understand Joe Burrow whenever you're getting Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, obviously. You know, hypothetically, I still think he's a little bit overvalued, but regardless, I get it. I've done it, right? I've stacked them because you got to play the ADP game. Someone's going to take naked Burrow if you push it, right? But I just cannot fathom. I can't fathom taking Joe Burrow at the 405 with none of his pass catchers. Yeah, I know that Cincinnati defense isn't good. And then, like, right here, how do you not, after getting Devontae Smith, how do you not take Jalen Hurts? Kitchen's going to take Hurts. It's so tempting for him, but he's feeling bad because he only has one wide receiver through 4 rounds. That's what's going through his head right now. Tell me I'm wrong. And then he takes Jalen Hurts. That's what was going through his head, though. 100%. Then you get Mahomes randomly going here with no Rashee Rice. I mean, that was something. Like, look, we all understand the thesis behind Joe Burrow. We saw it the second half of last year. What I'm saying is it's hard to sustain what he did. It's very difficult to sustain that. All right, we'll look at ADP. We still don't have a running back. I keep getting Kenneth Walker. You guys have been seeing these streams. You know I keep getting Walker. I could get Mixon here to pair with Nico, which is definitely on my radar. You know, I'm not going to be able to get him in the 7th. Do I love Mixon? No. Okay, good. Mixon won. Makes me feel a little bit better because I'm not like in love with Mixon. And then Walker goes. So we're in a position to probably go wide receiver. We'll just get best available, which in my opinion is probably Zay. And then we could go Waddle and go 0 RB. Let's make a 0 RB team. Actually, no, we're going to go Laporta. I don't like Laporta enough, though. I really don't like Laporta enough. We're going to go Zay. Okay, so we got 1. I'm just not that big on Laporta, but ADP-wise, he's here. I'll just do it. I'm not like in love enough with everyone else sitting here. I'll just get Laporta and pair him up. I like Harvey. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to let that ADP rest a little bit. And I think there's going to be some back and forth and whatnot. I have enough Harvey. Part of the moves that I make in these drafts are going to be based on my exposure of these players too. I don't really have much Laporta at all. So getting him with Amon-Ra is cool. Not in love with last year's RB6 and PPR points per game. Yeah, it's a good thing that we're not drafting in 2024. I don't mind Mixon. It's a volume-based play. It's like Kyron Williams. It's a volume-based play. And when you shift that volume, like even a little bit, there's more fragility to it. You know, I think I've Mixon at like RB 18 or 19 or something like that. I'm not like far from the market on Mixon. But I do have at least a little bit of fear that, early on there's some fragility to the workload in the production. How does one get in your draft? I mean, I joined right before the live stream. We're going pure zero RB here, though. How aggressive do you target Goff now? I mean, not super aggressively, because I don't think Goff is like that much of a smash pick. I'll probably push it because I don't love him enough, and I have like other outs, right? With like a CJ Stroud, and I can get another stack later because I got Jaden Daniels. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna probably be close to the top of the queue in the next round from an ADP perspective. Anyone who's followed my stuff knows that I am not high on Jared Goff this year versus the market. Could have gone Harvey there, though, instead of Flowers, instead of Zay. But this is one of those teams, it's like, all right, got a lot of equity tied in early on. Kitchen's just going high upside with Godwin there. Got a lot of equity tied to wide receiver early on. So I am okay with, more of a, 2-7-7-3 type build, or 2-7-8-3 type build. Had to do the math in my head. Not a ton of stacking going on here, though. Like, look, you get Lamar Jackson with no Zay, because I took Zay, but they didn't get him in the 5th, which would have been a little bit of a reach. Josh Allen so far is nothing. But there is a Minnesota thing going on here. So they'll probably go Josh Allen with JJ McCarthy. Kitchen doesn't have Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. That AJ Brown drafter is probably not happy with Soccer Dave. And maybe they just panicked and just took Patrick Mahomes. I do not like Travis Kelce this year. There are some really tough trends. Redacted asked this in chat. There are some really tough trends with his last season peripherals. It's just really hard for me to buy into Kelce. At this ADP, 74th overall is wild to me. Like, he went ahead of TJ Hawkinson, which I would not have done. I think that you can make, I straight up like Evan Ingram more than Kelce. Kind of out on Zay this year. I don't know where he falls in that passing attack. I'm not like in or out, but where he falls, I think he's going to be the number one target getter. Kelce seems like a touchdown bet. He wasn't much of a touchdown bet last year. Yeah, Kelce with Rashee Rice last year was abysmal. It was like a 14% target share in that limited sample. I like Noah Gray just standalone. All right, so like I said, see what ADP looks like. Could go Pacheco here. Goff still isn't at the top of the board. Definitely not going to take him. Are we on the clock? Not yet. All right, so I think we go Pacheco. And then I don't really have, I mean, this is kind of a dead area. I'm going to go Pacheco. We already have quarterback. I mean, I really like Darnell Mooney. I don't mind Josh Downs. I'm not really high on these guys here. Maybe we already have Laporta. I don't have a ton of Pollard. Just play it Pollard. No, don't love that turn. Everyone's saying Downs. I would have gone Downs in a different environment, but I went 4 wide receiver start. I can't get over the Brian Robinson stuff either. Someone sell me on Brian Robinson. JJ Panic instead of JJpedia. I see what you did there. Someone sell me on Brian Robinson aside from he's just going to score a lot of touchdowns. Mooney is getting steamed up I have so much Darnell Mooney. He should be getting steamed up. He's going to be a target in my draft guide. So like there's trends that favor him too. There's trends that favor Josh Downs as well. And when I say trends, for those of you who haven't purchased or read the draft guide before, I look at historical ADP and I find trends of different statistical things that the market generally doesn't factor in enough to see who outperforms ADP expectation the most. And both Downs and Mooney are kind of interesting. Yeah, someone said take Pollard. I did take Pollard. I'm not overly high on Pollard though this year either. I do like Pacheco. I think last year's end of season was very much driven by the injury. Soccer Dave got Josh Downs though. Pollard will get some. Yeah, like Pollard's going to see work. My thing with Pollard though is I think that they want to use Tajay Spears more than they did last year. And so, there's a little bit of, I could have even considered Evan Ingram there, even over Hawkinson, just to get like a correlation with Isaiah Pacheco. But like Pollard's going to get work. I just don't know if he's going to see the same kind of like receiving target shares last year, even ground game work. Like he had 260 carries last year. Are you just lower than the market on Tennessee running back? Spears seems pretty low for you as well. I need to update my rankings and push Spears up. That there's just an error in my rankings right now with Spears. They need to be closer together than they are. Here we go. Here's the quarterback run. There goes Jared Goff to a team that has no Detroit Lions. I mean, this 3 spot is just drafting the best guys, right? Just getting dudes that he likes. Kitchen saying Agbuka or Pittman. For this spot, you got to go Pittman if you got Josh Downs. I mean, when you can stack Indianapolis Colts pass catchers. Oh, you have Chris Godwin too. Go with what your little heart desires. I think I have to take Henderson at 103. My wide receiver are solid and my running back are non-existent. Having no luck trading back and to add meaningful value. I mean, look, I'm not gonna fault you if you need to take Travion Henderson 103, but I think that there's more value in taking a guy like Tet, for instance, and then worrying about the trading and getting a running back that you need later. I always draft for value and trade for need. All right, let's see where we're at. Man, all right, here we go. I was going to say Bo Nix and Brock Purdy, I like both. And I was thinking, man, if I would have taken Evan Ingram earlier, would have been kind of nice. But I already have Jaden Daniels, so I'm not that concerned. All right. Glad I took 2 running backs because the running backs really do fall off here. Could go Trey Harris for I mean, it's probably early. We'll bring back with Houston. There's just not a lot to like love right here in the draft. Could go Bateman and pair him with Zay. Could just take Sharbs or Scadaboo or Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's just like should see some work. I don't really draft guys like Mason typically. Scadaboo though also. What do you guys feel like? This is a dead area of the draft. Like I don't really care about any of these guys. That's why I might reach on Trey Harris just to get a bring back, a really solid bring back with With Nico. All right, we'll go Jordan Mason. Haven't gotten a ton of him. And I might just reach for Trey Harris and let people get angry at me. Let's do it. Okay. I'm scared of Scadaboo after your recent perspectives episode. Oh yeah, that was with Barfield. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm not. I actually think I'm leaning more. No, I don't really like Quentin Johnston. I'm leaning more Tyrone Tracy in that ambiguous backfield, like more and more, because so many trends favor Tracy. And it's scary, but these guys are both like, I mean, Scadaboo had better peripherals. I was thinking about something else. Had better draft capital. Someone said Bateman is the play. I'm actually not like immensely high on Bateman. Maybe I should reevaluate. The thing with Jordan Mason, though, is that I'm getting the week 17 with Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta. That's why I don't think I said that out loud. So I think the Mason move made sense. And then Trey Harris pairs with Nico. The problem is, CJ Stroud would be the quarterback pick next, which would be ideal. Don't know if he'll be there. Probably won't. What are some trends that you're talking about with Tracy? Pass catching back, or has the ability to be pass catching back, second year back, ambiguous backfield. Those are the biggest ones. Second year backs in the middle rounds historically have been a really good bets, especially when they have pass catching upside, especially when they're in ambiguous backfields, which is what Tyrone Tracy is. So there's a lot to like there. Here comes Kitchen with the backdoor New England stack. We'll see. Let me look at the draft board real quick. So this team has just Goff. They probably just took Stroud. No? This team has Caleb and Lamar. This team just has Fields. We'll see. Can you talk about why Quentin is not great? I'm just new to the analytics stuff. Did he just benefit from lack of competition? Yeah, look, I just think Trey Harris is a better player. Like, I think that Quentin Johnston is now the clear 3 on that depth chart. I don't mind him as a late round dart throw. I just was referring to like the general vibes. Look at this team. Like JJ McCarthy without any Viking. The biggest mistake was the Justin Jefferson team who has Addison not taking McCarthy, and they took Bateman instead. They're probably tilting pretty hard right now. And then they're going to get, this is the team right here to watch out for Stroud. They only have Mahomes, but they also have naked Mahomes. So I just don't know if they're really thinking about stacking. Watch Kitchen just take Stroud. I don't know. This is going to be Kyle Williams. Here we go. Kyle Williams, Kitchen. Ooh, Luther Burden. Okay. You're going to push it a little bit. Yeah, Bateman, I get it. I get it. Bateman has that kind of upside. I just, I'd have to look into his numbers from last year. This is going to be Stroud. Or Jordan Love. With, again, All right, so this team has 2 quarterbacks. This team has 1, the one right in front of me. This team has 1 as well. So we're definitely in the danger zone of someone taking Stroud, but there's some cushion because we have Trevor Lawrence. Michael Penix just went. We have Trevor Lawrence. And then Stafford. And then I got to get... I love Eckler. People were really mad that I was like forcing Eckler, but Eckler's really good for this build too because I have Jaden Daniels. This team just took Trevor Lawrence with, oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now? This is going to be Stroud. Jaden Blue. All right, we got CJ Stroud. You like that reverse jinx at the end? I'm going to force Eckler again. And I know people are going to be mad and they're going to say, oh, this is stupid. This is dumb. It's way ahead of ADP, but it's perfect for this build. And I don't think he's going to make it back to me. So we're going to go Stroud. And then we'll go Eckler. And that forms a pretty good foundation. Because now the squad has Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler. No bring back. You get Stroud with Nico with the Trey Harris bring back. You get Detroit with Amon-Ra and Laporta and a Jordan Mason bring back. And then you have Pacheco and Pollard. Is there that big of a difference between Jaden Reed versus Zay Flowers this year? I find myself betting on Reed more often based on ADP and the Green Bay offense. It's fine if you want to bet on Jaden Reed more, but I'd say there's a difference. I mean, Zay Flowers had like a 25 to 26% target share per game rate last year. You're not going to see that from Jaden Reed. Like the obvious difference is that Jaden Reed is not going to run nearly as many routes because they just use him as a slot. And look, I'm a Jaden Reed guy, so I keep forgetting about Dobbins. It's fine. Dobbins would have fit. Eckler fits, though, too, so I'm not that upset. If I would have gotten Eckler without Daniels instead of Dobbins, I would have been more upset. But Eckler fits this build so well. With it being a little bit more zero RB. Do you have more weight on Reed or Golden this year? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. So it's going to be a 3 tight end build with Laporta, I think. And then 2 quarterback. We're good at quarterback. Running back, we have 4 right now. Wide receiver, we've got 5. So we can go 8 wide out probably. 7 running back probably. And 3 tight end and the 2 quarterbacks. All right, Kyle Williams. I see you, Kitchen. You were sweating that a little bit. It's a good push. Do you have a take on Rachaad White? I actually do. I think Rachaad White is undervalued in this format. Because even last year, here, let me make sure that I can... Okay, I'm going to look at some data. I can't pull it up, though, very, very easily. But Rachaad White, last season, and understandably, second half was a little bit different, still had a 38% running back rush share per game rate, still was over that 10% target share per game rate, even with Bucky involved. Golden's been running 2 wide receiver sets in June, according to the beats. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like, we should anticipate Romeo Doubs and Matthew Golden playing in 2 wide receiver sets. And Golden, rookie wide receivers, generally pretty good bets. So, I just don't know what my exposure has been so far to answer that super directly. But Rachaad White has upside if something happens to Bucky Irving, but also has some standalone value in a good offense. It's strange to me. Contingent upside is underpriced in general. Agreed. If Bucky misses time, White's a borderline RB1 in PPR. I don't disagree at all. I have a lot of Rachaad White. Him and Eckler, to me, are the 2 like easy go-to zero RB guys in best ball. Because like I think Eckler is just underpriced versus his projection, and obviously would have a little bit of upside if Brian Robinson got hurt. And then Rachaad White, his projection isn't as good as Austin Eckler's, but the upside is stronger if something were to happen to Bucky Irving. Like, you don't have to like Rachaad White to draft him. I understand he's not the most explosive back in the world or fun to watch back in the world. He actually did test well when he came out, but still. Rashad's going to eat his ADP on DraftKings. I think he still has those boom weeks this year. I agree. Almost went Goddard 2 rounds ago. Yeah, that's a good get with Goddard to pair him with Hurts. The only issue is what we talked about on becoming a best ball bro, which I might try to chat about. I'm doing the interview tomorrow for becoming a best ball bro. I might chat about the tight end thing that we discussed, where it's like you get Trey McBride, but then your stack for your quarterback like Hurts, you go to Dallas Goedert. Is that bad? All right, we're almost up. I love Jake Ferguson here. If we could get him, we could also go Ertz. But obviously that completes the stack. But this is the bring back piece for Dallas. Maybe we just go both. It's funny. I drafted Hurts in the last live stream, and I haven't really drafted him that much. But he fits his build really well. And then we can kind of just pour on. Man, I kind of want to go Dobbs, though. All right, we're definitely going to go Ferguson. You guys think Ertz or Romeo Doubs? Because I have Zay Flowers, and I just think he's an undervalued piece. If no one says anything, I'm going to get Ertz. You can see how I've never felt good pulling the trigger on Ertz. I agree. And we could get a third tight end really late, even if it's Ben Sinnott. I think I'm going to go Dobbs. That's going to be controversial. I can already feel it. Okay, everyone's agreeing with me on that pick. Yeah, get a tight end later. With Ferguson and Laporta, I don't think we need to force an Ertz at tight. Even though we have Jaden Daniels, we do have Jaden Daniels with Terry McLaurin. We have him with Austin Eckler. We didn't get Debo. Anyone check in on what happened to Noah Brown? Doesn't Debo hurt Ertz? Yeah, I mean, to maybe not directly, but yes. What ended up happening to Noah Brown? Walk to the sideline. Okay, it looks like he's all right. I'm not that concerned about when you have a mobile quarterback about going crazy with the pass catching stacks, as long as you get the one. You could go like Jalen Lane in the last round and get really weird. Is Noah Brown out for the season after that? Roto World didn't update anything. Are you just messing with me? I'm checking right now. No, they're tight-lipped after the injury. I haven't seen anything more. Pitts is priced at his floor. I wouldn't say he's priced at his floor, but I do think that he's fine to pick. Could use another we could for our last wide, because how many wide outs do we have? All right, we have 6. We should put Jalen Knoll on our radar for Stroud. We should put I don't think we need any more Detroit. I don't know. We could go like Ben Sinnott with the last tight end pick. We'll see where things are at. Kitchen getting Tank Bigsby as his first running back since round 2. I dig it. With the fact that you waited, I dig it. I'm not like in love with Tank Bigsby. Hunter Henry is still just so undervalued. Just because you can get him. I mean, this isn't like a crazy, crazy place to get him, but him and Drake May are an easy later stack. Pushing Hero RB to the max. Yeah. For real. Hero RBs, to be fair. Tyler, get ready. I'm going to ask you about Tyler. By the way, everybody, Mr. Emo Cowboy himself will be Wednesday's guest on Becoming a Best Ball Bro. Very pumped to chat with him. We'll chat about, I want to ask Tyler about the tight end stuff, which is, look at Kitchen's team here, Tyler. You get Trey McBride in the third. Okay, great pick. But then you get Jalen Hurts and you want to stack him. So you get Dallas Goedert to stack him. Do you feel weird about that with Trey McBride there? Or is it cool? Is it fine? Look at Kitchen getting Roshan. That's how I know he's working for late round fantasy football. We could also go, Keenan Allen, Justice Hill as a 0 RB target with Zay and Romeo Dubs. Yeah, Roshan's a great pick. All right, we're going to see. Yeah, I generally agree. I'm just like curious about game theory with the McBride and Goddard stuff. Okay, so we need running back and wide receiver. Let's look at ADP. I'm probably going to get Jalen Knoll and Justice Hill. I would love to get Keenan Allen. He's just going to probably rise once he signs somewhere. Do I need to force it with Justice Hill? I probably do. These running backs are iffy. Okay. So we'll get Justice Hill and Jalen Knoll. And I'll do it fast just so that it brings a little bit more chaos to the room, I was doing that yesterday. I was at the turn in a draft yesterday or 2 days ago, just trying to pick as fast as I can just to throw off that 11 spot. Do you think Christian Kirk is a cut candidate? I doubt it. But I think that people are not being open-minded enough to Jalen Knoll being legit. We gotta stack some running backs here in a sec. Yeah, Shipley's a play. I just don't know if Shipley's gonna beat like a full-blown. Like, of course, if Saquon goes down, Shipley gets love, right? Oh, we have an auto drafter, Kitchen said. Yeah, we do right here. But like on this, I'm just going to get bodies at running back that are getting some production. Yeah, I thought Knoll was pre-draft kind of in the same tier as Higgins. Then obviously post-draft, Higgins got the ADP or the draft capital, and so his ADP is going to be higher. I like both of them as players. My thing though is that from a cost perspective, Knoll is just not really prioritized. Do I like Higgins or Knoll more for? You have to like Higgins more, not only just because his prospect profile when you input draft capital looks better, but you have to play the market to some degree, right? Knoll gives the team a vertical threat from the slot. Rotation can happen in Kirk injury. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Noel is very good, and he tested really, really well at the combine. I think Higgins is in a good spot for him, where I don't think that he's necessarily an alpha in the league the way that Nico is, but playing alongside and across from Nico can be really helpful for him. And he can stretch the field too. He moves kind of different. Jaden Higgins does. So I think that he can even stretch the field as well. I mean, they have guys that can get vertical in that offense. Like, I don't understand Dylan Sampson over Jerome Ford. Am I wrong? Do you guys want to battle this one and chat about it? I've been getting Marshawn Lloyd a decent bit too. He fits his build actually pretty well. But like Jerome Ford, I think is going to get, and then Miles Sanders is a great pick for this build with the bring back. Uh-oh, what just happened? What in the world just happened? There we go. That was bad. I like Ford on DK. Yeah, exactly. So both those guys just went. Obviously, Kitchen takes Jerome Ford. God bless Kitchen. You're like a day away from being laid off. Dylan Sampson because of baseless rookie hype. Yeah, Dylan Sampson though, like to me, is change of pace without the receiving upside. Like he didn't have a great receiving profile in college. Is my beef with Jerome Ford. I think we got to go RB. All right. Let's see. What can we do at running back here? Maybe we just wait and get one. Oh my gosh, Miles Sanders just got sniped. I got sniped with Miles Sanders. Are you for real right now? We got to get one running back here. All right, Jaleel McLaughlin will get something. Maybe that's ugly. Maybe you guys think I'm stupid. He's going to get something, and I have Pacheco, so there's a bring back there if that game is relatively high scoring. And then what are we going to do? We'll get Jaleel. Do we go running back or do we get another wide receiver? We're going to need a tight end. All right, so we got Jaleel. Kind of like Noah Gray, too. Maybe we go Giddens. Brother, we'll talk about this Jaleel stuff in just a second, my friend. We will talk about that in just a second. I'm gonna go Noah Gray. Someone said, brother, you have not learned the McLaughlin lesson last year. I kind of disagree with this general stance and take. Okay. Because if you look at Jaleel and his peripherals last year, if you look at McLaughlin's peripherals, 34% running back rush share per game, target share per game, 5.24%. The year before that, 7.55%. Is he going to win you a league? No. We're in a position right now with a build like this where you're just looking for bodies. You just need something. And then the Noah Gray thing will add to the bring back of that game. Do I think McLaughlin is like some smash? No, I don't think I've really drafted him much at all this year. But in this spot, I don't really hate going that direction. And then in the last round, I can get more of the dart throw type because there's a lot of those dart throw types. Fannin is a super late tight end play here with the lack of Cleveland pass catchers. I like Fannin. I already got Noah Gray, but I like Fannin. We've talked about him on the show. But I think the J.K. Dobbins thing is more related to Audric Estime than it is Jaleel McLaughlin after kind of digging through it. So we need a wide receiver and a running back to end this draft. Interest in the reports that Deontay Thornton is getting first team reps over Besh so far? Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's stupid. Not because I don't like Thornton. I wrote him up in the draft guide, in the prospect guide, as someone who's kind of intriguing because of his deep threats, his deep threat ability and his yards per route run. Based on that, he just didn't get a lot of run in college, which is a red flag. But he can play a vertical role. But I think that they're best suited to have Jacoby Myers kind of rotate with Jack Besh around the field, and Besh play mostly a slot role. But I don't think it's good news for Besh for sure right now. I haven't really been drafting him because I don't think that even if it like slowly changes, I don't know if his ADP is going to really jump tremendously. But yeah, Thornton is someone that I've been drafting. Kitchen's just going so running back heavy now. Really wanted like a Taj Brooks. Brashard Smith would have been fine, but I have Pacheco. All right, we got to see who we're going to pick. We could go Krosky Merritt, but I already have Eckler. I already went that direction. You guys have a favorite dart thrower running back? I like Keaton Mitchell, and he fits this build really well. So I might go that direction for that. And then at wide receiver, just get a dude. Savion's been kind of fun. All right, we're definitely going Keaton Mitchell. Someone said Sean Tucker. Now, Keaton Mitchell fits his build. Oh, no, I already have... All right, we'll go Sean Tucker. I just remembered that I already had Justice Hill. We'll go Sean Tucker. Just for you guys. And then at wideout, someone said Tesla. Tesla's not a bad call. You guys want to go Tesla? That's a fun one. With all the Lions. Let's go Tesla. And that concludes this draft. I like the Tesla call out. That was big help because of the Lions stack we have going. All right, let's recap the draft, and then we'll get to Kitchens after this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels. So we paired Daniels with McLaurin. We did get Eckler later too. Zay Flowers, Sam Laporta, Isaiah Pacheco, Tony Pollard, Jordan Mason, Trey Harris, CJ Stroud, Austin Eckler, Jake Ferguson, Romeo Doubs, Jalen Knoll, Justice Hill, Jaleel McLaughlin, Noah Gray, Sean Tucker, and Isaac Tesla. Give me the ratings out of 10. There's a lot of... there's decent... correlating on DraftKings is more difficult than I imagined it would be. So I don't mind the fact that this is pretty heavily correlated, or like for a DraftKings lineup. You get Justice Hill with Zay Flowers and Romeo Doubs. You get Noah Gray with Jaleel McLaughlin and Isaiah Pacheco. You get the Lions stack going. You get Washington with a Jake Ferguson bring back. There's some correlation going on here. You get Jalen Knoll with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins with a Trey Harris bring back for week 17. $7.6 Kitchen says. All right, Kitchen, we'll see where you're at. All right, so Kitchen went Bijan. Actually, this is what we got to do. All right, you guys see Soccer Dave's team right here, right? You see Soccer Dave's? You guys are going to tell me which team you like more, mine or Soccer Dave's. Okay? Bijan, Devon Achane, Trey McBride, DK Metcalf. Where's the correlation, buddy? Jalen Hurts. Where's the correlation? Chris Godwin. What are we doing here? Huh? What are we doing? Ricky Pearsall. What? Ricky Pearsall? Josh Downs. Okay, look at this. You got Egbuka and Chris Godwin. We'll stay here. You got Egbuka and Chris Godwin. Drake May with Kyle Williams, then Luther Burden right here. You get Luther with Pearsall. Okay, there you go. A lot of rookie wide receivers here. Dallas Goedert, good for Jalen Hurts. Tank Bigsby, and then you just start throwing some darts at some running backs and sniping me. See, I would have said you don't need Cade Otton. That's my critique, Kitchen. You got Trey McBride and Dallas Goedert. Cade Otton's the 5th option on that team, 4th option on that team. Don't think you need to get Otton. Was that a little panic? I'm just kidding. Jerome Ford to pair DK Metcalf. Jarquez Hunter, because you're a late round fantasy football stan. Devin Neal. Yeah, Tyler. Look at Tyler. I think that I win just based on the Cade Otton pick. And then Roman Wilson to pair with Metcalf there too. Which team do you guys like more? JJ's would have been a 10 out of 10 team if Kitchen didn't snipe. Should have gone Keenan over Cade would have been great. I definitely think Keenan over Cade would have made this team a lot better. Plus it would even out the age of your wide receivers a little bit, get that veteran presence. I think it's a decent enough team though. Yes, as Tyler says, smash the like. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure after this is done, you comment, you tell me how bad my team is. You talk junk on Kitchen. He says, but when the one criticism is my 16.8. Look, we'll see. Okay? We'll see who does better here. So we're not doing one more. No, we're only doing one today. Most of my streams will only be one. It's just the way that life is right now until maybe July when the draft guide is out there, which by the way, check out the draft guide over on lateround.com. It's getting close. I'm still working on the players to target, avoid, and the late round dart throws. But it's getting close. It's going to launch on July 1st and it updates weekly after that for those of you who buy it with updated players to target and avoid and updated rankings. So that all gets updated. Brennan says, stopping by to remind you that Tyrone Tracy is a converted receiver. I got that a lot on Reddit. Whenever I posted about middle round running backs in their previous season yards per route run rates, and Tyrone Tracy's was under 1 last year, which doesn't even put him in the red flag area. It just puts him in like the hit rates and the target shares of these guys haven't been as good as we probably would want, through the years. Not like a glaring siren red flaggy thing like a Chuba Hubbard or a Jordan Mason who I drafted in this draft. But yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. Hopefully any of you dads out there had a great Father's Day weekend. I'll catch you next time.